Deep behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here is your host, Matt Maldonado on Madness4life. Welcome, my friends. I am your host, Matt Maldonado, deep behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9 in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Madness4life News, podcast number 6 on June 18th, 2012. I'm going to be getting into 10 things that will happen if Barack Obama continues to systematically legalize illegal immigration, which he has announced that, hey, the illegals are going to be coming over the border. Get ready. Your jobs are going to be gone, and, we're going to pay them less, and it's going to be all right. All by design, by the way, because they were basically hoping this would happen. Same with Mexico. They first do a civil war in Mexico, and then they're going to do a civil war in the United States. So be ready. Google growing effort effort by government to censor the web. In his own words, Obama says he is a constitution-violating dictator. That's accurate. Apple's iOS 6 includes government alerts. And last but not least, Death Summit 2012, a window into 2000, basically the 21st century eugenicist. So now let's get into this. The 10 things that Barack Obama is continually systematically legalizing illegal immigration, which will totally destroy the United States, get rid of American jobs, give it to the illegals. And you keep hearing it on the news saying like, oh, those poor illegals, it's those illegals, we got to help them, we really have to help them. Oh, it's so sad. And then I keep seeing on the online all the time, everybody keeps saying, oh, please support the immigration laws that's coming. Oh, yes. Oh, and by the way, moron, your jobs are going to be gone soon. Oh, isn't that bad? Oh, the country's gutted. Isn't that fun? Before I get into this, I actually have a story for everyone. That my mother and grandmother went out to Walmart, and this person kept arguing with them over an ID. And I was listening to this, and I'm just going, okay, an ID for getting Sudafed, getting just normal drugs to help them, because the government in their infinite wisdom had to pass a law stating that you have to get most of the regular drugs over the counter, even though there's no law. But hey, let's just create a law that you have to get permission in order to get that. But that's all right. So what happened? What happened was that she asked the lady behind there, okay, can I just give you like a different ID? Do you really have to no, state ID. It's just like the lady from the hospital that said that kept saying HIPAA, it's HIPAA. Even though HIPAA had to do with the unions, and yet I wasn't part of the union, and they were going to operate on me and say we're not going to tell you if your son dies on the table. So, it's going to be fun. Just like that one woman that her father passed away and no one told him. Hey, that's fine. So anyway, they keep going, and they kept hounding them and saying like, oh, the state representative's going to go and arrest me. It's like, what? It's a narcotics trafficking organization. They insider trade. They go out with their whores. I mean, this is a joke. And they do what they ask, and they finally got their medicine, but this is ridiculous. I mean, really, do we really have to live in a society that is a bunch of crazed, idiotic, mind-numbing, morons that just goes, oh, I gotta do what the system tells me. Well, they're narcotics trafficking organizations. I mean, you're going to do what the government tells you, even though they're going to arrest you anyway and put you in FEMA camps. Your jobs are going to be gone. It's all going to be destabilized. It's all going to be for the illegals. It's all you're all going to be poor. Why don't you guys actually stand up for liberty and freedom? No, that's just too much politics. Too much of that. Your games, your basketball games, your football games, all your games are going to be gone. Everything's going to be gone. You're not going to have your house anymore. You're not going to have your cars anymore because they're going to give it to your neighbors. It's going to be destabilized. The country is getting gutted. And you get this woman that has no idea what's going on and just freaking out over an ID. I mean, give me a break. It is just lunacy. And that brings me to my first subject. Let's read this from Infowars.com. This is an article from The American Dream by Michael Snyder. Barack Obama seems completely obsessed with systematically legalizing illegal immigration. The United States borders a failed narco state that is one of the most crime-ridden nations on the entire planet, but Barack Obama refuses to secure the border and consequences for the American people. Have been obviously interesting. Right now, it is already costing us tens of billions of dollars a year. Tens of billions of dollars a year to provide welfare for illegal immigrants and to educate their children in public schools. Right now, illegal immigrants are already working millions of jobs that should be belonging to American workers. Right now, American drug cartels are already active in more than 1,000 U.S. cities. But apparently that is not good enough for Barack Obama. He wants to roll out the red carpet and give the green light to tens of millions more illegal immigrants. Last year, Barack Obama issued a list of 19 factors for government officials to use when deciding whether to use persecutional discretion in departure cases. Under that new set of rules, criminals and national security threats were to be deported, and virtually everyone else was to be allowed to stay. But now Barack Obama has taken things to a whole new level. Now, if you are under the age of 30, came to the United States under the age of 16, just like a Barack Obama, and he had an Indonesian passport, and his name is Barry Soetoro. But hey, that's okay, because we don't really need a real president. It's all right. And have lived here for at least 5 years, you will be able to apply for legal status and have a work permit. With the election less than 6 months away, it is obvious that Barack Obama is pondering the vote for voters. Yeah, because nobody wants to vote for him because we know he's a puppet and people are begging for Mitt Romney. I mean, really, Mitt Romney? The guy that's literally Obama. I mean, he's literally a descendant to Obama. Haven't you guys ever seen his voting record in Massachusetts? Have any of you ever done your history, read your history? No, because everybody's in their little weird little video game state, and in their little watching their little games, basketball, football, soccer. It's, because that's more important than seeing your country actually thrive. Yeah, do you want this for your children? I guess you do. But I don't. But in this kind of banana republic politics is only going to divide America even more deeply, and is going to result in some very serious pain for this nation. in the years ahead. How close do you think officials are going to check to see if people applying for this new amnesty are really under the age of 30 or really have been in this country for at least 5 years? No one. No one. None of them will. That's why there's a lot of illegals here in the United States and taking American jobs, and they don't even know it. They don't even look to see who's illegal, who's not, and they just grab people that actually are illegal, that are legally here, not illegally here, and just deport them. And it's just like, well, I'm legal here. Doesn't matter. You're going back. Now cross the border and now be illegal. What? We have to destabilize the country, so be illegal here. Okay, but I'm not really going to do that. Well, you're going to do what we say because we're the government. All right. As I have written about previously, illegal immigrants lie to the IRS all the time. This is Michael Snyder talking, not me, by the way. Every year they file hordes of fraudulent tax returns that result in them receiving $4 billion in tax refunds that they are not entitled to. Yes, they're going to get the benefits. They're going to get the things that actually normal Americans should be getting. But yet, hey, they're going to get it, and you're not going to get it because you're American scum, because the guy with the John Deere hat is the bad guy, and the normal American, you're the terrorist now. Continuing here. As I have, so if they are willing to even lie to the IRS, which is a private organization, by the way, that gives it money to the Federal Reserve, not the federal government, but let's pay that no mind, then why wouldn't they lie about when they came to the U.S. or about how long they have been here? They can even say, like, hey, I've been here for 20 years. You sure? Yeah, I've been here for 20 years. Let me see your papers. I don't have it. Okay, fine. He can stay. It's good. It's all right. For a long time, Barack Obama has supported sanctuary cities for illegal immigrants, but now he has essentially turned the entire country into a sanctuary city. Our immigration laws are still on the books, but everyone knows that Barack Obama is not going to enforce the vast majority of them, and that is really sad. The United States will always need immigration, but the way that we do things today is really stupid. That's pretty accurate. We make legal immigration an obvious nightmare, but we leave the back door completely wide open for anyone that wants to break the rules and come in illegally. So those that would like to come in legally and do things the right way are greatly discouraged from doing so well. Criminals, drug dealers, gang members, welfare recipients, and those willing to survive in the underground economy are given the green light to come on over, and anytime they would like. Yep. And that's why the industrial world is going to be cut off to the rest of the world, and the economy is going to keep imploding. There's going to be sanctions on the country, just like Liberia and Sierra Leone. If you guys ever researched those countries, it's a total dismay. There's still sanctions on Liberia. They're still starving to death. They still are in concentration camps over there in Liberia. Sierra Leone is... it was either Sierra Leone or Liberia that's one of the richest diamond countries in the world, but instead the people that own those diamond mines get less. Well, the ones they get less than what they're the people that they give the diamonds to. They can't even afford a bicycle to go from one place to the next. They can't even afford to even have a house. But hey, if you have a house, that's against the environment. We're going to burn that down, and we're going to kill your children, and we're going to rape your wife, and that's going to be the end of it. And if you fight back, we're going to kill you. So hey, what's this have to do with what's going on here? Well, it's going to turn into that. It's already turning into that. Our country's going to turn clearly into Africa, which already the New World Order is established there. If you actually would have read anything there, they actually admit that there's a New World Order in Africa, and they totally destabilized it on purpose. That's why this Death Summit 2012, they totally talk about just destabilizing it and saying that, listen, we need a world government. We need to show that the people need to be protected by climate change. Well, what do you think you are? You think you're God? Yes, we are. And we're going to give you carbon taxes because carbon is the one thing that pushes the weather. Well, actually, it doesn't. It's the sun and the excess. Shut up! I don't know where the heck they get their evidence from, but hey, that's all right. They have no evidence. Continuing here. Our immigration system makes no sense whatsoever, and now Obama has just made things a whole lot worse. And everybody's just going to get in line just to love it. Oh, we need reform, we need reform. Well, your jobs are gone. You're right, but we need reform. You're poor now. Well, yeah. The following are 10 things that will happen if Barack Obama continues to systematically legalize illegal immigration. Number 1, there will be fewer jobs for American workers, just as I said. This is not really a debate. In the United States today, 53% of all college graduates under the age of 25, such as myself, even though I didn't really graduate, are either unemployed or underemployed. Many of them are obviously obviously trying to find work. Overall, there are more than 100 million working age Americans that do not have jobs right now. Meanwhile, millions of illegal immigrants are occupying jobs that could otherwise be held by American citizens. Many employers prefer to hire illegals because they work for a lot less money. A lot less money equals lower standards of living. Hey! I really wish that these liberals and these other people would just stop being a bunch of naive morons. I mean, really, you people really think that Obama's going to save you and Mitt Romney's going to save you? That's the same thing with the right. You really think that Mitt Romney's going to save you? I'd rather have Gary Johnson in there. Gary Johnson actually knows more than any of you. He done more in the state of New Mexico than any of you done as a senator or as a governor. Two guys that have only been, first of all, Mitt Romney's only been a governor for 2 years. Barack Obama's only been a senator for 2 to 3 years. You need to be a politician longer than, I would say 10 years before you should be president. I mean, you need to know what the fundamentals are of America. But yet, if you're a special interest person, then okay, fine, then you're a special interest. You're going to be for the people that want to gut the country, like the elites. But hey, I'm rambling and ranting and whatever it is. Like, Matt's a kook! He wants to read all this stuff and not play video games? No, I don't. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go out and play video games. I want to do this. This is it. It's either you want to stand up for your country or you want the country to just fall apart as you're playing the video game. Or dancing around like a bunch of morons at a club. Sadly, many politicians actually support the right of these undocumented workers to steal our jobs, as a recent article by Davy Kidd pointed out in April 2008. The very popular New Jersey Governor Chris Christie prostituted himself during a speech for votes at an event sponsored by the Latino Leadership Alliance of New Jersey by assuring his audience illegal aliens were not really here illegally, but were simply undocumented. What is this, a Bill Clinton moment? Yeah, no, they're undocumented. Well, what's that mean? Well, they're here illegally. That's what that means. I mean, they're undocumented. That's what it means. And, can you define that word illegal? It's like defining the word naturally born. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that you're naturally born here. You can't be born in a military base and say that you're naturally born here. You're not. You get citizenship if you do that. But hey, how dare I? The unofficial number of the unemployed Americans is close to 25 million. Those undocumented criminals, Governor Chris Christie refers to our illegal holding 11.5 million jobs that belong to Americans and naturalized citizens. Shame on you, Governor Chris Christie, for thumbing your nose at our federal immigration laws and encouraging even more criminals to break into our country. Roll out the welcome mat. Unemployment in New Jersey is holding at a steady 9.3%. Governor Chris Christie apparently doesn't care if jobs go to illegal aliens instead of legal citizens in his state. After all, they're simply undocumented. Hey, number 2, wages for American workers will continue to decline. When you have a lot more workers competing for the same number of jobs, what happens? That is right. Wages go down. We are seeing this happen in industry after industry. For example, several decades ago, a roofer could live a nice middle-class lifestyle and support an entire family on one income. But today, that is no longer the case. So what has changed? A flood of illegal labor has entered the marketplace. And they think that's going to help the country. Yeah, let's keep the roofer's job at a low price to make sure that the standard of living keeps going lower. Now, continuing here, number 3, illegal immigrants will overwhelm our welfare system. Every year, illegal immigrants receive tens of billions of dollars in welfare payments. They get free food assistance, free house assistance, free health care benefits, free education for their children. Life is good if you are an illegal immigrant and you know how to game the system. You know how to game the system. Yeah, I said that right. In fact, many cities in the United States now openly advertise that they will help illegal immigrants with these things. Unfortunately, according to Davy Kidd, the cost to taxpayers is getting to be astronomical. Excuse me. Last year alone, the cost to taxpayers of LA County was whopping $600 million in welfare for children of illegal aliens. I guess it doesn't bother the people that are getting phased in taxes to pay for all the welfare because they continue to elect governors who refuse to lock down the border and of the invasion across the southern border of California to their legislator. Overall, it has been estimated that U.S. taxpayers spend $12 billion a year on primary and secondary school education for the children of illegal immigrants. You had enough, America. You had enough of it yet. I guess not. Let's just continue here. Number 4, Mexican drug cartels will establish a procession in nearly every city in the United States. Mexican drug cartels continue to expand their influence inside the United States at a frightening pace. They are slowly taking over our communities. However, it's not however. I'm sorry, that's how far. See what happens, folks? This is teleprompter free news. This is what happens. How far do things have to go before we say enough is enough? Well, until they take away the games, because that's the way people are going to get mad. It's, hey, they took away our football. Well, the standard of living's lowering. Well, they took it away. Well, there comes the baseball games. They're gone. They took that away. The soccer games. Well, they're gone. Baseball games. And then your video games. Well, actually, the video games are always going to stay around because they're acclimating everybody into, like, having troops on the streets and just loving every bit of it. Like, all right, I guess the troops will be on the streets and watch us all. Hey, we got to be safe, right? Well, it's not really about being safe. It's about saying you're scum. Well, you know, it's a good thing. I can't wait. Sign me up to be a armed citizen to spy on your neighbors. But hey, I am talking about a different subject. Let's go back to this. The amount of money that Mexican drug cartels bring in from selling drugs inside the United States is obviously striking, whatever. In the suburb reckoning of the Rand Corporation, for instance, the gross revenue that all Mexican cartels derive from exporting drugs to the United States amount to only $2.6 billion. Only? By most estimates, though, has achieved a market share of at least 40% and perhaps as much as 60%, which means that Chapo Guzman's organization would appear to enjoy annual revenues of some $30 billion, comparable in terms of earnings to Netflix or, for that matter, to Facebook. Can you imagine that? We are talking about serious money. And Mexican drug cartels are not just operating in huge cities such as LA, Chicago, and New York. The truth is that they have become deeply embedded in many rural communities as well. News for cartel are common in cities near the borders, such as Phoenix and fungal drug hubs of New York, Chicago, or Atlanta. But smaller towns bring business too. In unsuspected suburbs and rural areas, police are increasingly finding drugs, guns, and money they can trace back to American drug organizations. Hey, just like Wells Fargo and other banks. Isn't that fun? The number could rise in coming years. The Justice Department's National Drug Intelligence Center estimates Mexican cartels control distribution of most of the methamphetamine, heroin, and marijuana coming into the country, and they're increasingly producing the drugs themselves. In 2009 and 2010, the center reported cartels operated in 1,286 U.S. cities, more than 5 times the number reported in 2008. The center named only 50 cities in 2006. Well, of course, they're going to come in here. They're going to do the same thing like they did in Mexico and destabilize it, go to every single city, make it so criminalized, giving bribes to not only the Justice Department, not only the police, not only also politicians as well, because the politicians are already paid off, as well as bankers. The bankers are the ones that are actually giving money to these drug cartels. And to destabilize it even more, having our cities overwhelmingly like with drug cartels just killing, murdering, raping people, and we think that that's okay. Because it's this kind of weird gangster culture where it's cool to be a gangster. It's cool to rape kids. It's cool to rape females. It's cool to beat up women. It's cool to do all these things.